where you are just sitting in a car, you are not driving it, but that car is being self driven just because of the machine learning model in it. That machine learning model by itself is thinking whether to stop, whether to move on, in which direction to go, what should be the speed. So each of these decisions have been made by that machine learning model. So, isn't it quite fascinating to use machine learning? And we should properly know the pathway to be a good machine learning engineer. But first,
So, hi everyone, this is Aishwarya from GeeksforGeeks, and I'll be the host for you for today's webinar. So how are you all doing? As I said, that I'll be back again today with another session of my interview experience. So, yes, I'm here. Hi, everybody. How is your day going? So the week has just started. We talked about that. How was it Monday yesterday, and then now after Monday, how are you feeling? Can somebody please help me out that if I'm perfectly audible, just to check that uh, if I am audible to you guys so that we can take forward the interview procedure smoothly. Shlok Daima, good evening, Shlok. Um, am I audible, guys? Can you please help me in that? Hi, Santosh. Thank you, Rahul. Okay, audible and visible. Thank you, Shlok. Done. Audible and visible. Okay, thank you, Rahul. Okay, thank you, Ajay. Audible. So perfect. Yes. So as I say in every session of this interview experience webinar, that why we conduct this interview experience webinar. It's majorly because some of you know, and some of you who are joining us for the first time, it's for them that we conduct these webinars just to add up to your preparations so that you can know that what is how is the current placement drive going on, because it's not the usual placement drive. It's not the same as it used to be. It has been different this time, and to give you a picture of how is it going on, we are inviting students who are just being placed with different companies and share their experience at our platform at Geeks for Geeks. So yes, today we have with us Mr. Aditya, who will share his um, experience with Oppo. And so I'll just add him to the stream and let's take forward this webinar. So let's begin. I'm just adding Mr. Aditya to the stream. Hi Aditya,
Hi.
good evening.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Oh, fantastic. So how is the day going?
My day is going good today. I am working on a project of DRDO and it's going with a great speed now.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
So let's begin with the webinar, Aditya. First of all,
yeah.
congratulations and
Thank you.
for the your selection. And let's begin with the webinar. So our first question for you is it's not a question, but we our audience and we want to know about you a little bit and your college. So please brief us about yourself.
Hello everyone. A very good evening. I am Aditya Bodkhe. Currently, I am second year MTech student at IIT Hyderabad. So before my MTech, I did my BTech in CS from Maharashtra, from Kekewag Engineering College, Nasik. In BTech, I was a backbencher. I was among those guys who will come to college on a bike, who will play volleyball every day, and we will skip the lectures and all those things. I'm not saying that those are the good things, but that's my background. And up till like BTech second or third year, I was never serious about placements. I was just chilling at the college. But from BTech fourth year, I got to know that not very good companies are coming to our campus. So I had to study for GATE. And after GATE, I came to IIT Hyderabad. So at IIT Hyderabad, really, my learning journey starts.
Okay,
So
perfect, perfect. Okay, that you have done your BTech, now you are in your MTech, pursuing your masters.
yeah,
So there must be a lot to tell about your learning journeys, and
yeah, a lot.
me personally and our viewers would love to listen about that and jot down some insights through that. So please tell us about your learning journey, Aditya.
Yeah, so currently I'm pursuing my master's in AI, and AI and CS are two different things. Like AI has a lot of mathematics from electrical background, like signals and systems is a small part, linear algebra and matrices. So my first semester at IIT Hyderabad was really hard. For everyone of my friend, it was hard only, but it was especially hard for me because I was not good with mathematics. But with help of my friends, I cleared all of my subjects and just got with a 6 CGPA at the end of first semester. So with six CGPA, we know 6 CGPA is not great at all. And if you want to sit for placements, then it will be a lot of headache because I will miss so many companies. But still, in the like gap after the exam, I kept studying. I learned deep learning and also learned TensorFlow. And due to my hard
Okay,
work, I got an internship. So after getting an
okay,
internship, my spirit was really high, and I once again I gathered all my motivation. I used to listen to Elon Musk podcast on JRE just to keep myself
okay.
up. So in the second semester, what I did, I took some extra subjects to take my CGPA a bit high. And after the end of second semester, I had reached a CGPA of 7.4. So at that time, I knew that at least one part of my placement journey is over now because I have a CGPA above 7. I knew that
Hmm.
CGPA above 7.5 will be required, but that's what I had then. So on my learning journey, I had ADSA courses, deep learning courses, all of them, and I had understood all of them at a good extent. So because interviewers they really go deep in all of these things because they know that
Absolutely.
when a guy comes to a company, ADSC is the most important part. You can learn everything at the company with their help, but these problem solving skills are the most fundamental.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Perfect, perfect. So yeah, it has been a long one, right? You have gone
Yeah,
through various steps and very interesting. I would say, okay, get going. You have seen every phase basically. That okay, that
yeah.
how to
My first
overcome from these
exactly.
yeah, hurdles, various hurdles, and you overcame all of those. So we are glad that we are hearing this from you, and we are sitting here with us giving us the webinar
Hmm.
on your placement, so
Yeah.
it's fab. So moving forward, we want to know that how did you get to know about the opening in Oppo?
So what happens at IIT Hyderabad? That Oppo company is at Hyderabad only. So every year Oppo comes at IIT Hyderabad to our campus placement cell, and we have a like campus placement portal called OCS. So at OCS, all of us have to like make our resumes and upload our resumes to OCS portal. And based on our
Okay,
branch, our CGPA, and other eligibility criteria, we are eligible to sit for companies. And then we have to apply
okay,
individually for every company. So Oppo was one of them,
okay,
for which I applied through my IITH portal only.
okay. So it was a on-campus placement, and
On campus placement, exactly. Yeah. Hmm.
perfect, perfect. So now the next question is majorly for your juniors. It will be a segment that in third and fourth year, I would say, of graduation. We'll talk about graduation as well and post grad also. So while preparing for the interviews, and if you are in the fourth year, I would say in MTech, how many years of MTech you are in last year, right?
Yeah. Currently, I am doing
Obviously.
2 year MTech, and currently I'm in last semester.
Last semester, right? So
Hmm.
when one should so this is for the graduated student, because you have gone through, you have understood things a lot. Now
Hmm.
you can suggest
Hmm.
better to the third and fourth year students of the BTech that how they should
Hmm.
go, and you can also suggest to to the students who are pursuing their MTech that how should they go in the preparation in the initial years. So
Yeah.
please elaborate us on that.
Of course, I can do. So for BTech students, the best thing you can start is you can start coding from second year only. At second year, you study DSA and ADSA. DSA is like only up to like tree and linked list, and ADSA goes further. So from second year only, once you have covered the DSA and ADSA, you can start coding right then only. Because coding is basically practicing all that you know on different sets of problems. So if you start early, then you will have a good head start. I didn't do that, but I did at MTech. That's why I came at IIT. But as soon as you start, that's good. So from the third and fourth year, you also have your core CS subjects. CS subjects like OS, DBMS, and CN, and all of the product-based companies they like to ask these subjects. So in OS there are many hard topics like paging. In DBMS, transaction and concurrency is a
Hmm.
very important topic. In computer networks, network layer is a very important topic. So whenever you are learning these subjects at your BTech level, you really have to understand the crux of subject, because whenever the placements will come, either the internship or the direct job placement, they are going to ask you these questions. So while on campus or like off campus also, while learning these subjects, you have to prepare good notes, because while sitting for your placements, you only are going to revise through those notes only. So preparing good notes is very important for preparing for placements
Okay,
for the
so
BTech
we
guys.
know.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Moving on to the MTech.
For MTech guys, yeah. So I assume that you had done MTech CS. So after doing MTech CS, you already know operating system to a great depth, operating system, ADSA, CN, and DBMS. So you know all these concepts, and what happens that you have studied it before coming to like MTech college, and placement start at the third semester of your MTech. So what you had to do,
Right.
you have to check that when the company are coming to your campus and when they start taking your examinations. So at least before,
Okay.
if for these core subjects, even if you start like 4 weeks before the examination starts, you just have to revise through your notes only. For revision, you can
Okay.
do two things. If you have forgotten everything, you can go through Ravindra Babu Ragulan lectures once again. And if you know the concepts, just go to GFG and search for every topic one by one, and you will again know that what you had forgotten and how those things used to work. This is for MTechs. And one major thing MTech has to like keep in mind, that all the BTech guys, they are from majorly in IITs and NITs. All the BTech guys, they start coding at second year only, and your competition is
Okay.
against those guys. So you have to start coding as early as possible. I cannot emphasize this enough, but if you start coding early, then you will get better and better company. So that's a very important point.
Perfect. Perfect. Moving on to our next question is about the rounds of your interview. So, can
Mhm.
you please tell our viewers that how many rounds were there in your interview, the name of the round and number of the round?
Yeah, yeah. So for Oppo R&D, there was one coding test which was conducting on Hacker Earth. The coding test had three questions and was time for 1 hour and 30 minutes. And after coding test on December 2, there were three interviews. The first was the
Okay.
coding interview, second was technical interview, and third was an HR interview. All of the interviews went for like more than 1 hour easily.
Okay, perfect.
Mhm.
Now, this is the most important question and most important segment of our webinar. This is the main motive that we conduct these webinar. We want to understand it step by step, how the interview went. What was there in the first round? What was in the second round? What were the questions? How did you go for it? How did you prepare for it? So please tell our viewers and enlighten our viewers about the same.
Yeah. So what happens in placement at IITs and NITs, that this interview round they started very odd time. So for Oppo R&D, my interview started at 6 in the morning. So at 6 in the morning, I had the
Okay.
first round of interview. So first one was technical round. In technical round,
Okay.
at for technical round, GFG helped me a lot, because what happened, like Oppo is not coming for first time for campus placements. There were a lot of interview experiences on GFG. So what I did before like December 2, I went to GFG and I looked all of the placement experiences, what they were asking. And there I found
Okay.
out they were asking operating systems, linked list, and binary trees the most. So I did the same thing. I also knew the other concepts, but I focused much on these three concepts. So for the first technical
Okay.
interview, he asked me three coding problems. The first was on linked list, the second was on a binary tree. These two are medium level question. The third was a question of a try. He didn't tell me that it was a try question. He just told me the problem statement. I had to figure it out, that I have to use a try here. After that, he
Okay.
went for some puzzles. After my interview had finished, like at 12 in the afternoon, I could look that all of these puzzles had come from GFG only. So if I had looked those
Oh,
puzzles, then yeah, I had like three puzzles for like 3 rounds. So all of them were on GFG. So if you have time, Then you can also solve puzzles, but there are a lot of them, so you have to manage time. Then after first interview round, there was second round. Second round was like discussion of product. So my MTech thesis is in
Okay.
deep learning, is in deep learning VR.
Hmm.
So both of the topics came along in my MTech thesis. So
Right.
Oppo take a different route here. They discussed with me how would you design a VR headset. So at that time,
Okay.
one thing you have to keep in mind that there is always something new you can tell. If an interview is asking what can you do more, what can you do more, you don't have to tell that this is it. You have to tell something new at every time he asks. So like for like first half an hour, we discussed like how can we use deep learning with VR to decrease the
Okay.
bandwidth. So at that time, whatever you know, like whatever things you have understood till now, you have to apply all of them in each possible way to solve the problem. And like for first
Okay.
half an hour, I think interviewer was he saw that I can solve these problems, and we moved to the OS concepts. For operating system, there are like 15 to 20 general questions. So if you go through the general questions, at least half of the question in interview will come from this, and the other half of this question you have to study hard, really hard for the OS, because every company asks OS. Like if the company is coming for SDE role, they are
Hmm.
going to ask you OS at some point of the interview. So OS is a really
Okay.
important point. And after this came the HR round. So what I
Yeah.
saw this year at IITH placements, that many of my friends, they got out at HR round only. They performed well at first two rounds, but they got out at HR round. So it was like a devastating scene for me.
Right.
So what happened? Yeah, because you are prepared for like last 2 years, you only prepared for ADSA and operating systems, and you got out at HR round. So that is like a depressing thing. Many of my friends, they got devastated due to this point. So you also, so for HR round, there are like some common questions like what do you do on your weekends? How do you handle failure? What happened? Like one major question companies ask is that when you're working on a project group, and if one of the member of the group, he has fallen sick, so how do you handle these situations? So these are some generic questions which are asked by every HR. So whenever you have time in like your preparation, take one full day out for this HR round, write all these questions on a paper, and answer all of this. I didn't do these things, but I was just lucky that HR and my mind, they just matched, and whatever I told,
Matched.
he liked. But you should
Yeah.
not take these risks, and you should have a format that how will you answer these things. And one main thing
Right.
for every company is that you have to do a bit research, is that what is the company working on currently, and second point
Hmm.
is what is company launching in the next month. Because Oppo HR,
Okay.
he asked me all of these things like which is the next Oppo phone coming, what is good in that phone, all these things. And I am a techie, like in my family, if anyone wants to buy some new tech, they just call me, and I tell them that yeah, you can buy this, or these are the comparisons, and that's why you should buy this one. So at that point it helped
Right.
me a lot, because I really know what they were going to ask me, and I told them to the great extents. So they were really impressed that I am so much interested in their company. And I think this was one of the major point that I was hired, because at least 2 to 3 of my friends, they were at same preparation level as of me, but they didn't
Okay.
get in, but I got in. I think this was one of the major points, that you have to show the interest in the company.
Interest in the company, and
Hmm.
majorly that you should not take for granted the HR round, because
Hmm.
this could be one of the crucial, this is one of the now crucial rounds, and your answer matters a lot. So your technical part,
Yeah.
sometimes you get, like you said, that your friends got devastated because of the fact, because it feels really bad when you
Hmm.
are clearing every other round and because of which
Hmm.
you were preparing, and then एक HR round पे आके you just get stuck.
Yeah. Because
So
HR wants to
okay.
look that how will you fit in their company? Do they really want to work
Right.
with you? Because everyone studying for
Yeah.
ADSA and OS, most of them are studying. But how are you as a like a person to work in a company? That is also important part.
Yeah, your skills, your people's management skills, basically your soft skills. So they check all these, and these things are important when you, because when you grow in a company at some point of in manager levels, you need these skills to work out. So they prefer the skills to be there in the candidate. Perfect.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for this answer, Aditya. So we would like to know when you will be joining Oppo.
I'll be joining on the 1st July. They already sent me the offer
First of
letter
July. Okay.
with all the details. 1st July is the joining date.
First July is the joining date. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now there is a question of the question about your interview process. So it was I assume that it was a virtual interview, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was virtual interview on
So
Zoom calls.
on Zoom calls, and I also assume that you must have faced any some of the face-to-face interviews as well
Yeah, yeah. At least two or three of them before this one.
before this one. Face-to-face
Mm.
interviews you have
Yeah.
experienced. So we would
Yes, yes.
like to know from you that how what do you think, which placement is better, face-to-face was better, or the placement going the way they are going right now is better?
Yeah, I think the placements they are going at right now, they are better for like some points, because I have given the placements for like face to face. At face to face, you can communicate better at some extent, that you can use your hand gestures, you can show your drawings to other easily, because you can draw easily on a laptop using my mouse pad. But
Right.
besides this point, when you are at your home space, what happens for the placement rounds? There are like hundreds of companies coming to like interview you, and it is a lot
Yeah.
of pressure for the placement interview. So if you are at home at that time, then you have everything at your disposal. You can get food on your table
Right.
and all those things. But when you are at your college placement, you have to go to a specific building, go to a specific lobby, and you see a lot of stress on faces of a lot of people. So I think that is
Hmm.
the one major drawback in the face-to-face placements. But one drawback all of us saw for the first time on the virtual placement was what happened this year, that all of these companies, what they did, they compared students parallelly at all of the IIT and NIT. So what they did was, if like suppose a company A, they had 10 panels, one panel to
Hmm.
each college, and they compared all of the students at all of the colleges at the same time. So what happened due to this, like at IIT Hyderabad, at least 5 to 6 companies were there which hired zero. And one major point here was that when the company comes to a college, they know that they have spent a lot of time coming to college. College has also
Right.
spent a lot of money bringing to the college. But if everything is online, they can just shut the laptop off and placement is over. So this thing happened. Like many
Oh.
companies didn't take even a single candidate. This didn't happen last year. So this year placements were bad across all the IITs due to this
Oh.
one point.
Oh my God. Matlab, this is something that I am listening for the first time in the interview experience webinar. We were discussing this question for many of the people, many of the
Mhm.
guests who came on the webinars. And this is the first time I'm hearing this kind of situation that actually this point, and this point is quite valid.
Mhm.
Right, they were spending a lot of money coming there, and the company
Yeah,
was bearing a cost, and that's why they are
they
supposed
took
to
at least one two. They took at
yeah,
least one
they
two.
were supposed to enroll somebody,
Mhm.
but now
Mhm.
they all is virtual, no
They
cost is increased.
they just
They are not increasing
uh,
any cost.
they just took
Yeah.
zero
Oh wow.
if they didn't like, yeah. So and by coming to IIT, so we can't justify this point that how are they taking zero students, but they took anyway.
Wow. Oh, strange. Though
Mhm.
it was an important
Suspense.
insight, so I would say to my viewers, just to prepare for face to face. Sorry, virtual interview. That's becoming really it's a task. So prepare yourself that way only, and we are here to help you
Mhm.
out. Though the motive of
Also
our
one point my
this.
also one point my friend saw is that at one of the interview of one of my friends, the interviewer was not interested at all. It was like he was like too much stressed and too much worked up, so he was just online for the interview and didn't take any attention. It won't happen for the face-to-face interview. So there are pretty much cons.
Nee, that happened actually happened with every sector. No, that people are working, and like the working people in general, they are also working class.
Mhm.
So the people were getting fed up, and they were feeling lazy working at home. And I suppose that this was happening with them also, because there is a working class. Sometimes
Yeah,
they got
yeah.
lazy, and yes, then
Mhm.
laziness comes. This that came. Yeah.
Yeah, so it
Okay.
was a drawback only, virtual placements.
Right. So face to face is better according to you any day. And face to face actually is better because you can express yourself better as compared to the virtual interviews. Because you can show a
Yeah,
very limited part of your personality in the through. same through video calls, but not the complete personality of yours. It becomes a
Yeah.
task. Okay.
Mhm.
Now coming to the next question, moving forward to the next question, we want to understand something about resumes, because there are some
Mhm.
points that some major points that needs to be included in the resume. Some There are some myths about the resume. There are some the reality about the resume. So we want to know all about it and some tips that you must have added or you must have worked upon. So please tell us about that.
So, when we go on online searching for resumes, we see all the fancy resumes having two columns, blue here, red there, pink there. But that's not required. Your resume has to be a simple resume in black and white format. You can use gray or like a different font for the headlines, but it doesn't have to be very fancy. One major reason for this thing is that many companies, like not for on campus but for off campus, you have to send your resume to company, and company will just use a parser to pass your resume. So what they do, they
Hmm.
have a computer program written, and the program sees your
Yes.
resume. So if your resume is fancy, then it won't get detected correctly. That is the one major
Yeah.
reason that why your resume has to be as simple as possible. And what you can do for your resume, you just have to have some sections one by one. You can have headlines heading at center with some box around them, so you can see them easily. And you can use bullets
Okay.
as your points, not 1 2 3, but bullets as your points. And if you have done some internship, if you have some experience, keep the experience at the top, because not everyone does internship. So that's your plus point. Keep your experience at the top, then your projects, then your achievements and skills, that have you won some
Hmm.
hackathon, have you won some coding competition like that. And after that should come your courses. And also in the courses, you should have sections like theory courses, CS courses, and AI courses. So when a person is looking at your resume, he will know where to look. And for the projects, you have to mention the timelines, like from what time to what time you have done this project, and in this project what are the skills that you use, like Python, TensorFlow, in IoT project
Hmm.
like Samsung IoT, all those things. Because based on these skills, the interviewer will ask you questions. The Oppo interviewer, he went to VR because I had mentioned VR in my resume. So whatever you mention
Hmm.
in your resume, you should really know that. Don't make any
Hmm.
false assumptions. Don't don't do that, because if the interviewer asks you and if you don't know, then it's like a major red flag that you are lying on directly on the resume.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Perfect. And okay, on resume topic only, is what is the role of projects? Is there a significant role of projects in the resume, and how important is to have a project in your resume? Uh,
Yeah, for a product-based company, like projects are the most important part, because projects show you that how like if you know coding, but how you use the coding
right.
knowledge to make something like a product. So what
Hmm.
I did, like because I was in AI, I kept three projects: one in blockchain,
Hmm.
one in IoT, and one in deep learning. Because when companies come to campus placement, there are 100 companies working in 100 different domains. So you have to have something for everything. So you should have
Okay.
at least projects in 2 to 3 domains, and you should know everything about them. Like interviewer might ask you what's the future work, and what you used in this, why you use that thing. So everything, every twist and turn the question can take. So you have to have good projects. At least 2 to 3 of them is fine.
Okay. Two to three is the number that you're suggesting to number of projects you should keep on your in your resume. Perfect.
Yeah,
And
because
what is the role of the? Yes, please continue.
in an interview, one interviewer will mostly ask you only about one project, and there are three interviews. So 2 to 3 is fine, I think.
Okay. And what is the role of internship? Is it compulsory to do an internship to put in your resume, and how much it is important?
Yeah, good thing about internship is that if you are done internship, then you can get PPO and you can get direct placement. So you don't have to like study for like extra six
Oh,
months.
okay.
You get directly placed in a good company. Like if you get a PPO from like Microsoft, you're directly placed in the company. Don't need to worry about studying 6 months once again. But if
Hmm.
you opt out of that PPO, if you want to go for other company, then whatever work you're done in your internship, you can again tell that work in your interview also, and you can explain them that I have worked 3 months for this company, what was my experience and all those things, and they interviewers know that what they want to ask and what they're looking for. So yeah, interview is
Okay.
really a big plus point.
Okay. Cool. So, Aditya, moving on. So you have mentioned everything to us, and we know that there were hurdles in your journey, and there must be some times when you're feeling really low, and people feel demotivated at this point of time. So we would like to know that how did you keep yourself motivated during the tough times, and stop yourself from losing your confidence, so that our viewers could also apply the same ways to make themselves motivated, because yes, everybody is not so strong, and they
Mhm.
need guidance in life, because during these times. So please guide our audience and viewers about the same.
So here I would like to quote Elon Musk. I won't use word to word, but what he says is that if you are making mistake, then you are doing something new. So if you are doing mistakes, if you are like not like working at the expectation level, then it's okay because you are doing something new. And what I did,
Yeah.
like after my first sem, after getting a 6 CGPA, I knew that I
Mhm.
am not at a very bright spot, but I can really go upward from that. So what I did, like my whole time, I have my phone, and at my phone Elon Musk is on the like my front screen on a live stream, because he's my idol. And if you know his journey, he has seen a lot of hurdles like in last 10 years, and now he's
Yes.
like the most wealthiest person in the world. So if you see his podcasts, his interviews, you'll get a lot of motivation, like a lot to get placed. Getting placed is a small thing if you see his podcast, because the vision he has, the struggle he has gone through, you will get a lot of motivation from there. So that was the one major thing I did during my darkest of the times.
Okay, so basically, listening to podcast, and not basically
Hmm.
listening, not listening to podcast, but keep motivating. Try to find out ways to keep yourself motivated, and don't feel that everything will fall apart. Things will come into place if you keep working out. If you are trying so hard, things will get into place finally. This
Yeah,
is the
even in the campus placements, what happened that I got placed on December 2. So
yeah.
my package was, can I mention it?
And actually, we don't
Okay,
suggest
okay,
to
okay. I won't.
mention.
Okay, I won't. Okay, I won't.
That's
So again,
fine.
my package was like X lakh rupees. So I was placed on December 2. But on
Yeah.
December 12th also, like after 10 days also, a company came. We just offered only 1 lakh less than my package. So after 10 days also, good companies were coming, and still in the month of February, good companies are still coming to campus. Like Salesforce is coming to a campus now. So you don't need to lose hope. You don't need to lose hope, because good companies come to campus. You just have to keep preparing. I saw in my batch, everyone who had prepared for placements, every one of them
Hmm.
gets placed in a good company. So don't need to worry, just keep your preparation going on with full speed. You will get placed. I also got placed.
Congratulations to you for that.
uh,
So,
you're
moving
not
on
audible
to
to me now. Yeah, I can hear you
wait,
now.
can
I
you hear
can
me
hear you,
now?
yeah. Hmm.
Wait,
I can hear
yeah.
you, I can hear you.
Okay, okay. ठीक है. So, moving on to our last segment, which is the Q&A segment. So, we'll ask our audience to ask their doubts from you. So, let's
Mhm.
move towards that. Uh, so, everybody who is watching us right now, you can ask questions from Aditya if you have any doubt. We How to learn DSA in Java. Let's start taking the question. Is from Priyam Singhal. How to learn DSA in Java.
So for campus placements, you can go for C++, Java, or Python. But DSA in Java is a really hard thing because of the Java syntax. So initially, I would like to say that don't go for DSA in Java, because
Hmm.
in campus placements you have to write code in like 1.5 hour, and you are really on really less amount of time. So if you go for writing Java code, then it might be a big drawback. But for DSA in Java, there are some good books, but I didn't really go for Java. I went for Python and C++. So I can't really guide you on this point.
Okay. So, any other question, guys? If you want to ask, we have Aditya. He can clear your doubt. If you have doubts, we'll take the questions. Otherwise, we'll move forward. Mm, I guess that's it.
I can also add one point here that if there are some students who are finding like coding is very hard for them, don't go for Java or C++ at the first sight. Go for Python,
Okay.
because Python syntax is very easy and it's very intuitive. Like whenever you want to write some code, there are just one obvious way to do everything in Python. So if you are like really scared of this coding and campus interviews, start with Python first, and once you are comfortable, at least to some extent, then you can move to C++ or Java, because now you know how to write code, and then you can learn more about the language specific syntax.
Perfect. Okay, we got some question, which is one from Himanshu Sharma. How to manage time, for example, competitive programming, DSE development, and college study. So
Yeah.
yes.
So it really depends on which year of college you are in currently. If you are in third year, then you have to manage times between your college exams, competitive programming, and DSA. So what my friends and I used to do for this competitive programming and to practice programming during our colleges, we used to do it only on the weekends when there are no exams. For the DSA and for the DSA, you have to keep your contact with DSA for the whole time. Like one point I forgot to mention for my interviews is that I was asked about comparison of AVL tree and red black tree in my interview. So
Hmm.
if you have
Okay.
like lost the focus with your DSA, the DSA theory,
Hmm.
then you can't answer those questions. So DSA is the like it's the most important subject in the interviews. Second is the OS. So DSA is very important. Competitive programming, if you're doing, then you have a really good head start. So good luck with that. That's a great thing.
Perfect. So I think that's it for the Q&A session for today. This was the last, as we have moved ahead of the time as well. So
Mhm.
as your last words from for this webinar, we would like you to just advise the people who are about to sit in the who are sitting in the placement drives, who are maybe they have their interview tomorrow and somebody is watching us. So some tips and tricks and some piece of advice for them, to our
So
viewers from your end.
yeah, so piece of advice to our viewers, as like saying from starting only, start as early as possible, and you have two good resources. I will say three. The three main resources which helped me for interview preparation were GFG, Ravindra Babu Ravula, and Lead Code. So you have to balance all these of threes. You can start using GFG and Lead Code side by side. You can start going on Lead Code. There is like 145 topmost questions asked in the companies. Start solving those questions as early as possible. And whenever you get stuck, you can again come back to GFG, search for the same question, and you will find its answer explained in full theory, full video visualization in Python, C++, and Java. So starting early is the key, and also prepare for HR, because as I told you earlier that many of my friends got out in HR only. So don't let
Yeah.
it happen to you. Prepare for both points, your technical skills and your people skills.
Okay. So, thank you so much, Aditya, for today's session. It was really an insightful session. We got to know something really different in this session, like
Mhm.
some of the points related to the HR thing and related to the, about the drives, the virtual drives, and versus the face-to-face interview drives. So, thank you so
Mhm.
much for the session, and thank you so much for the time that you've taken out for our viewers to contribute to their learning journey. We are really thankful for you.
It's my
So
duty
yes,
to help my juniors. No thank needed for that. And thank you for
thank you
inviting me
so.
here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We are really glad to have you here. We are really glad you managed to conduct this session
Yeah,
with us. So thank you so much,
yeah,
Aditya. That's
mm,
all for the webinar for today. Okay. So good night
yeah,
and all the best for your job.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, Ashura. Good night.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Okay. Good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
So, guys, that was it. Yeah, another segment of my interview experience webinar is over now. This he was. We had Mr. Aditya with us on his interview experience with Oppo. We got to know really some important points like how should we prepare for our virtual interviews and how should you prepare. We should give an emphasis for the HR round. A single day should be given in your preparation by preparing for the HR round. The answers matter. So it's perfect. I guess. I guess that I hope that you got some important insights from this webinar. Moving on to very important thing and important thing that I wanted to tell you, that we have our machine learning with Python course. The batches is filling up. Actually, the course has great features. It's a live course with a minimum batch strength of 25 25 students, 25 people. So only 25 people can enroll at a time. It has 6 month access to recorded live lectures and have complimentary access to ML basics, our course. And at last, it gives you training certificate. Moreover, on top of that, it also gives you three projects, which includes major and minor projects, real application based, so real time application based. So go for it. The link of the course is in the bio. And we'll be conducting more webinars. We'll be conducting more events. And yes, I talked about events, and for events you have to be connected with us on our social media platforms, which is Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Telegram, and we have recently joined Reddit, and we need you guys there because soon we'll be conducting some crazy events there as well, and we want you to participate in that. So yes, keep following us. We'll be updating you soon with our next interview experience webinar and other webinars as well. So stay tuned with us and have a good night now. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.